Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and as you probably read from the title, for today's video, we are doing my birthday Q&A. When this is going up, it is going to be my birthday. I'm going to be the big 3-0. Yep, I'm 30 years old. I know I get a lot that I do not look my age, but yeah, I'm fucking 30 years old. Fucking crazy. Just got a fresh new haircut. Obviously earlier on in the week, got some Starbucks. So today's video is just gonna be a chill one. I'm just gonna be answering your guys' questions. I posted a video last week asking for your guys' questions. I also posted on social media multiple times, so if you missed your chance to submit a question, just make sure that you're following me on social media. And obviously on here as well, so that you don't miss those. But we're gonna go ahead and just get into it. So we'll start with anything from Instagram. So I posted on my Insta story the other day. Someone said favorite haunted house attraction. I don't really go to a lot of those things. Surprisingly enough, I am one of those people that's not a huge fan of going to like haunted or scare attractions. The last time I went to one was the first Halloween me and Matt were dating. I went with his family, so that was probably like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, somewhere around in there. So it's been a long time since I've been to one. I just am not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. I tend to have, you know, they say people have a fight or flight reaction. I have a tendency to fight and then flight. So I'm really bad about being scared if people like try to jump out and scare me. I just have a tendency to want to like, yeah. And I know that it's not the actors, you know, they're just doing their job, and I feel like a horrible person if that happens. So I never want to do that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of going to those kinds of things. So I don't really have a favorite one. Next question was, have you ever had an interest in doing a podcast? That one was from Outsiders of Horror on Instagram. I believe that they are a horror podcast. They just started following me and I followed them, so I don't know much about them. But yeah, no, not really. I do listen to a few podcasts. I did a video about that already. I like listening to podcasts. I don't know about doing one myself. I definitely feel like it's something I would have to do with somebody else. You know, I know that there are people who do podcasts by themselves, and depending on the type of person you are or what you're talking about, you can definitely like do it by yourself. But I feel like for podcasts, that's something I would definitely have to do with someone. And no, it's not something I've ever really thought about. But if anybody ever wants to invite me onto their podcast, I definitely would not mind being a part of one, like guest starring or something like that. Okay, so let's go to the comment section on Instagram. See if there's any, because I did post a post on here. The Will Miser said, I just saw your Blackula review. Are you going to review the sequel Scream Blackula Scream? It's just as easy to find. So if you missed my 101 days, I reviewed Blackula for that. And I do know that Scream Blackula Scream is on Shudder. So yeah, maybe I'll review that one. Obviously one person is interested in me reviewing the sequel, so if that's anything you guys are interested in, let me know. They also said happy birthday. Random Horror, hi Random Horror, said, do you believe in aliens? I have mixed feelings. I've always kind of believed that there's probably something out there. I like the idea that there's more to life than just us. Some people find comfort in believing that we are the only form of existence, that it gives us more meaning, and that's perfectly fine for those people. I like the idea of there being more to this world than just us and that we're not alone. I don't know if I necessarily believe in little gray or green men, but yeah, I mean, I like to live in the idea that there's more out there, but I'm not sure as far as, like I said, like aliens in the sense of, you know, the stories that we hear. But I do like listening to those stories. I know, and that's why We Drink often does some alien stories on their podcast that are always really intriguing, and make it hard to, you know, not believe. So kind of mixed on that. But I guess, yes, sort of. Okay, and then let's go to the Twitters. Sorry, I have my phone. I know it's like shining on me. Okay, so on Twitter, Mercy said, who, if you guys are not following her, I will leave a link to her info down below. Definitely check her out. She's a fellow horror YouTuber. But she said, what is the guilty pleasure movie for you? So I did actually tweet about watching this the other day. It's not so much a horror film because it didn't specifically say horror. So I'm going to go with Can't Hardly Wait. If you don't know what this movie is, it's a like early 2000s, maybe late 90s, I think early 2000s, like teenage rom-com, like teenage party film. It's basically about a senior class who, it's their graduation night, they go to a house party. You have Ethan Embry, who some of you will know from The Devil's Candy, and The Last Phase. He's done some horror, but he is in this movie. He's one of the main characters. He plays Preston, who throughout all of high school basically has been hopelessly in love with Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, Amanda. But she has been dating this popular guy since she moved to the school, and so popular guy breaks up with her like the day before, and so she's finally single. He thinks it's fate. It's this whole thing. It's really cheesy. Seth Green is in it. Anybody who knows me knows I love Seth Green. He plays this kind of like wannabe gangster guy, and he just has like the most fucking ridiculous lines through this like entire movie, and I love it, and it's so stupid and so cheesy. But I used to watch it late at night in my early 20s whenever it would come on Comedy Central. They'd always play it late at night. I watch it every time. It's on Netflix, at least for the US, so if it at all sounds interesting, check it out. If you've ever seen Not Another Teen Movie, it's one of the movies that they make fun of in there, which also, just speaking of guilty pleasures, I've basically seen every movie that movie makes fun of. I love those weird, goofy, teenage rom-com films. I can't help it, and Hardly Wait is definitely a guilty pleasure for me. So thank you for that question. Now I kind of rambled with that. Mark's Monsters in Mad Men asked, what's your favorite non-Scream horror movie? I do have favorites outside of Scream. The Final Destination franchise, Saw 2, I absolutely love that film. Poltergeist, I've got Carrie, I've got a lot of faves outside of Scream. And those are some of them. Okay, so let's move on to the YouTubes. These are all coming from the birthday Q&A announcement video that I posted. Horror Miser Monty G said, first off, congratulations on getting 1K subscribers. Welcome to the 1K club. Thank you, Monty. As for my questions, You might have been asked this before, but what's your favorite TV horror show? I believe I have actually answered that question, but it's probably been a while. My favorite horror TV show is probably Bates Motel. I know I haven't really talked about that show a lot, but I love it. I like American Horror Story, but I have not finished all of the seasons. There's only maybe 2 or 3 seasons that I've finished all of them. But yeah, I think Bates Motel is definitely, Bates Motel is definitely my favorite. I love that show. It took me a while to finish it. I didn't finish it all, like right when it was all out. I actually took a break from watching it. But yeah, I love that one. I think that is really, really, but yeah, I love that one. I think that's probably the best one. Okay, Coffin Crew asked, which horror franchise would you like to end? Ooh, that's a good question. That's kind of a rough one. I guess because there are rumors that they're going to be releasing another one. I believe it's going to be a remake, and maybe they're restarting the franchise. Not really sure. I don't know if there's a lot of information out yet. But Final Destination. The 5th one I thought ended perfectly. I know not everybody likes it, but I really like the way the 5th one ended. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who maybe hasn't seen the 5th Final Destination film. If you love the Final Destination films, highly, highly suggest it. It's way better than the 4th. It has similar vibes to the first 3. And it's really good. I really like it. And so the fact that they're maybe starting up a new series or franchise of the Final Destination, I'm just not really happy with. I think that it ended and we should just let it go. And the same thing with Saw. Which I feel like a lot of people feel that way, though, you know, I was gonna obviously give, the newest one, I don't even remember what it's called. I was gonna give it a chance. It definitely looks interesting. I know it's kind of like a prequel or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I was not yet, I think that those two, Final Destination and Saw, they just let it go, people. Let it fucking go. What was your favorite Halloween costume you ever wore? So this is just showing my emo roots. Not that they don't show anyway, but 1 year in junior high, me and my best friend at the time dressed up like Gerard Way and Frank Iero from My Chemical Romance. I'll try to see if I can find a picture. I probably don't have one, but basically I used to dress like Frank. He was my favorite member of my chem. I have an ID picture somewhere from like my junior high or high school ID where I'm like basically dressed like him. So 1 year for Halloween, we didn't really know what we were going to dress as. We just kind of decided to go last minute. So I dressed up as Frank, I dressed her up as Gerard, and it was a lot of fun. And obviously, like, people had no fucking clue who we were. This was during the Revenge era, so a lot of heavy eyeliner and makeup, and yeah, that was probably my favorite costume that I've ever worn. To be honest, as cheesy as it is, I loved that costume. Or my one that I did a couple years ago. I basically did a half and half look. I'll post up the picture. It's a reference to Tales of Halloween, so if you haven't seen that, it's a horror anthology. I really highly suggest it. I tell people if you love Trick or Treat, which I obviously do, that I highly suggest you check out that one because it's in the same vein and I think it's equally as good. Okay, any horror movies you absolutely hate or don't get but everyone seems to love? I have talked about this. I do not like As Above, So Below. And this is a film that I was super excited to come out. I am a history nerd. The fact that it was based on a real location and real rumors about the coves in France. I was super excited for that movie. Put me to fucking sleep. But I'm also not a big fan of found footage. But I think that there's a film very similar vibe, The Tunnel, which Emma from Spooky Astronauts actually got me to watch, and I really enjoyed that film. But I do not like As Above, So Below, and I know a lot of people love that film. A lot of people say it's so scary, it's terrifying. It fucking put me to sleep. I never even finished it. Zach just said happy early birthday and congrats on Gay. Thank you, Zach. Let's see. Okay, Mark's Monster Madman asked another question on here, and they said, what movie or movies got you interested in horror movies? So I have talked about this on my channel as well, but just a little recap. There's a few films that I do recall watching when I was younger. I've mentioned the original Dracula, Bela Lugosi's Dracula. I grew up watching like Rocky Horror and Little Shop of Horrors with my family. Poltergeist I remember watching at a young age. But Scream is really what got me into it. I wanted to watch the fourth Scream. Hadn't seen any of the previous ones, so I marathon watched all of them, instantly fell in love, and it's really what got me into horror. I always suggest to people who are trying to maybe get into horror but aren't as big of fans of like being completely terrified or don't really want to go into the hardcore stuff right away, I always suggest Scream. I know obviously there's quite a bit of gore, and especially in the fourth one, but I just always suggest them. I think they're a really good intro to horror films. They're a little bit more low-key. They're not as terrifying. You know, they do kind of pick on the genre a little. So I love the Scream franchise, and it's really what got me in and got me comfortable with being a bit terrified, because at the time I was into horror. And so they were pretty, like, scary to me. Obviously, I've watched them enough now that not so much. But, yeah, that's what pulled me on in. And last one is from Scream Screen. Some of y'all got hard names to say. Scream Screen asked, my question is, if you were given $1 million to make a low-budget horror film, what would it be about? What would your tagline be on the poster? That is such a good question, and I wish I could give you a good answer, because I honestly don't know. I know it would probably be a slasher film. You guys know I love slasher films. Honestly, I would probably go just a low-budget slasher, your standard, like, high schoolers being stalked, or even maybe, you know, college-age kids being stalked. I wish I could give you a really good answer, but that's all I got for you, is it would probably be a slasher. I don't really know exactly what it would be about, and I don't know what my tagline would be. So, I'm sorry if anybody has really good ideas, let me know in the comments. I'm not the person to give that money to. I know there's definitely people out there that would love to make a horror film. I would love to star in a horror film. I think it would be cool to be a final girl or even just a side character. But as far as creating my own, I really don't know. So I do apologize because I love that question, but I ain't got a better answer for you. But yeah, that was all the questions that I was able to locate. So if I missed your question, I do apologize. You can leave it in the comments below, or if you guys want to ask anything else, I'll go ahead and respond to questions. I hope that you guys did enjoy this. If you did, please do give it a big old thumbs up, and make sure you hit the subscribe button for more horror-related content. And before I go, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you know the perks to being a Patreon, links are in the description below, along with all of my other social media. And I will see you guys again later with another video. Bye!